Hey, Astra Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be talking about Rahu in Pisces, Ketu in Virgo. I'm super excited to get into this discussion. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. So starting off here, we will see Rahu shifting into the sign of Pisces, Ketu in Virgo on October 30th of 2023. And this will go until May 18th of 2025. So this is a major reshuffling of our lives as we come into this brand new nodal axis. So let's go ahead and start off for those of you who are new to Vedic astrology or who are wondering to know a little bit more about these nodes. What does Ketu and Rahu represent? Well, there's a whole story behind these nodes. There once was a great war between the Devatas and the Asuryas, and no one was able to win. There were casualties on both sides, and so the Devatas wanted to find a solution to this problem. And so they went to seek out advice for how they could win this war. And the advice that they received was to get the nectar of immortality from the great ocean. But in order to do this, there was a catch. They had to work together with the Asuryas. So they had to declare a peace treaty to temporarily put the war on pause. And as they did this, the Asuryas and the Devatas were able to churn this great ocean. And there were many treasures that came out of the ocean until eventually the elixir arose, this elixir of immortality. But before the Devatas had a chance, the Asuryas took this elixir and ran. And so they sought out the help of Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu disguised himself as a beautiful woman named Mohini. And he was able to seduce these Asuryas. At the same time, they didn't notice that he was passing off this elixir to the Devatas behind his back. But there was one Asurya that was very suspicious of what was going on. And he was by the name of Swarbhanu. So Swarbhanu was able to sit between the moon and the sun and to get a drop of elixir before these two luminaries of the sun and moon exposed him to Vishnu. And Vishnu returned back to his normal form and beheaded this entity of Swarbhanu. But Swarbhanu had already gotten the drop of elixir, so he became immortal. And as this elixir fell from his head into his body, the body also became immortal as well. So these two severed entities of the same body became known as planets along with the other graha. And they are now known as Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is the head and Ketu is the body of the entity. So anytime we make an interpretation of Ketu and Rahu in astrology, we always start with Ketu because Ketu is the root, the foundation, the source of where we are coming from. It holds our past life DNA. It holds the things that we have already experienced and discovered in previous incarnations. And so for this reason, Ketu isn't as concerned with this material world. Ketu is about our liberation, about breaking free from this physical incarnation cycle. And so Ketu takes us into deep spirituality, into wisdom, truth, research, getting to the depths. It is all about going back into the heart space, meditating, retreating. The nature of Ketu is to scatter or to dissociate from the things that it is attached to. Rahu, on the other hand, being the head of this entity, has a head, so it has a brain to intellectualize things, to rationalize the things of this material world. And it has a mouth where it is always seeking to devour more and more. So Rahu holds our desires. It's what we were unable to fulfill in a previous lifetime. So we hunger to move towards those things in this lifetime. It is a deep unconscious desire. So typically where Rahu is what we feel obsessed about, what we feel that we have to obtain or learn or understand to move towards in some form. And Rahu is great at really helping us to achieve our desires in this lifetime. Rahu will fulfill our greatest hopes and dreams. At the same time, though, there is a trick or an illusion to all of this. Rahu is associated with the Maya, which is known as the illusion of this material incarnation. All of this chasing after wealth, power, external things, seeking something outside of yourself to fulfill you is what this Rahu is all about. Rahu is great at ingenuity, at creativity, at intelligence, at weaving grand stories and performances, things that are elaborate, things that are pleasing to the senses, things that are magical. And so we naturally gravitate towards those things of Rahu. At the same time, though, the illusion of this Rahu is that we know that the things that are outside of ourselves is not what truly makes us happy or fulfilled. Happiness is found from within. So typically the things that we try to attach to that are associated with Rahu, we end up losing it or feeling dissatisfied in some way. There's a void that comes from this chasing and trying to acquire things that are outside of ourselves. And so Rahu is referred to as smoky. It is like smoke where it appears to be something that is beautiful, this mirage. But the closer you get to it, the more that you become obsessed with it, the more that you attach yourself to it, the more that you realize that it's just a mirage, that smoke will eventually fade and you will wake up to the truth. Now let's talk a little bit about the signs that Rahu and Ketu will be transiting through in this Rahu in Pisces, Ketu in Virgo transit. So again, let's turn to Ketu's position. Ketu is currently going to be entering into the sign of Virgo. So Virgo is represented by a young woman who is holding an ear of corn in one hand and fire in the other. And so Virgo has a youthfulness to it because it is ruled by the planet Mercury, which is the child. Mercury is the smallest of the planets, so it represents youthfulness. We know that in astrology that Mercury behaves like the planet that it is placed with. It has this childlike, youthful innocence to it. And naturally, like a child, Mercury is very curious, wants to discover, wants to play, wants to experiment. There is this quest to understand things, to learn things. And so this hunger, this curiosity that is found in this mercurial sign of Virgo makes it a very intellectual sign, a very ingenious sign. Virgos have a great deal of intelligence and creativity. They are very skillful. They are oftentimes talented in the arts, talented in writing, communication, business, and a wide variety of subjects. Virgo is a dual sign, so it has duality to it. It can do more than one thing at once. Great multitaskers, people who are talented in various areas of life. And as this young woman holds the corn, it is all about abundance, nourishment. Virgo is an earth sign. Earth signs are focused on security, on the tangible things. Do we have enough money to pay our bills? Are we able to manage all of the routines, the errands, the responsibilities? It's very concrete. It's very much in tune with this physical reality. At the same time, this woman is holding fire. And we know that fire is something that we discovered that helps us with survival, helps us with being able to have warmth, being able to cook, being able to take care of the things of life. Fire is a very vital element for our human existence. And so naturally, Virgo is a natural problem solver, is able to deal with and understand the realities of life, is able to make sure that everything is taken care of, that is managed properly. Virgo is very detail-oriented, very routine-based. all about maintenance, all about efficiency, about keeping things a certain way. So it takes care of the details, takes care of the responsibilities, makes sure that the security is provided. Virgo is all about our wellness. And this is why Virgo also rules the digestive system. It is about the things that nourish us, the things that we take into our bodies. Now, some also say that Rahu is a co-lord of Virgo. And this makes sense because Virgo is perhaps one of the most physically in tune signs out of the three earth signs. It's very focused on managing those physical everyday things. It's very much connected to the mundane reality. And like Rahu, Virgo is a very clever sign, very ingenious, again, very talented, creative, intellectual, very logical. There are very impressive things that Virgo is able to achieve. Now, let's talk about where Rahu is going to be at in this transit, in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is a very special sign in some ways because it is the last sign in the zodiac. And so if we understand that the zodiac itself represents the evolution of man, where the ego is born into physical form in the first house of Aries and continues on in Taurus to find that family, that security, that nourishment, continues on into Gemini to develop those skills, communication, creativity, that ability to assert yourself, and continuing on throughout all of these signs until we reach the end with Pisces, where Pisces is all about liberation, letting go. It is the end. And so Pisces is all about compassion, surrender, forgiveness, moving on. It is about being in tune with the universe, in tune with yourself. Who are you really? And so Pisces understands that the answers are not out there. The answers are within. It is all about connecting back into your heart space, going inward. Pisces is a sign of isolation. It's a sign of reflection, of introspection, going inward. And so this is all connected to meditation, to spirituality, to self-realization. And we see with the symbol of Pisces that there are two fish that are swimming in different directions. And so this shows a great duality that is found in this sign of Pisces. See, Pisces being the last sign is the end, but also it is the beginning because right after Pisces, we start again with Aries. So there is this understanding that everything is oneness when we get to Pisces. Everything merges into one. So there is this extreme polarity that is found in the sign of Pisces. The end becomes the beginning becomes the end again. Everything is happening in this constant cycle of life. Now, because of these opposing factors, though, there's a lot of confusion that can come in the sign of Pisces, a lot of illusions and projections that can be seen here. This is particularly true when this Pisces energy is unbalanced. When Pisces loses that connection to their heart center, to source, to something that is greater to themselves, when they lose that ability to go inward and to find their true self, there is a lot of confusion that comes. When Pisces tries to use their heads to think their way through life, it creates a lot of confusion and indecision. Pisces is not meant to behave from the head space. It is all about the heart. It is all about love, compassion, spirituality, about finding that deep intuition, that wisdom, that inspiration that comes from within. And Pisces, of course, is a water sign. It's very emotional. It's very in tune, very sensitive sign, very much compassionate towards all walks of life. Huge compassion is seen in this sign of Pisces. It's very nurturing, very protective, very much concerned with the well-being of others. Pisces is a sign that also is extremely intuitive. There is a gut reaction or an instinct to this sign of Pisces. They feel things in their heart, in their gut. They just know things without actually understanding how they know or understand it. Also, Pisces is ruled over by Jupiter. And this is very telling because Jupiter is the only planet that is associated with Akash, Tattva, with the sky element. It represents the never ending sky, just like you are unable to know where the sky ends and begins. Everything merges into one. So Jupiter has this expansive quality, this boundless quality, knows no limits. And this is similar to how Pisces is like the ocean. It is broad, expansive. There is no limit to it. Pisces is the deepest sign in the zodiac. And so naturally, Pisces has this optimistic approach towards life, this big, broad, expansive approach towards life. They see things in a dreamy perspective. They believe, have hope, have faith, have confidence that things will work out the way it's supposed to. They trust in their intuition, in their heart, in their instincts. Pisces also contains a lot of mystery, a lot of truth, a lot of deep wisdom. Sometimes Pisces is a sign that doesn't always share the wisdom that they have. Sometimes they can be very secretive, can conceal things, because Pisces is very concerned with others having their freedom, having their ability to go in their own way. This is the very thing that Pisces is all about, because Pisces has this understanding that life is about love. It's about the heart. It's about what is true to you, who you really are. Pisces is not interested in the conventional approach towards life and following the crowd and being a part of the system, being one of the clogs in the system. It is all about this ability to do what is true to you. So Pisces sees people in these mental prisons, sees people conditioning themselves to something that is not truly aligned with themselves. And Pisces wants to take a different path. They want to do what is aligned with who they really are. But Pisces certainly makes a great counselor, a great guide to others, a great inspiration. They have profound insight. They have deep wisdom in them. And oftentimes, this wisdom is different from the impressive intelligence that is found through Rahu, that is found through Virgo, that is found through these more intellectual and practical signs. The wisdom that is in Pisces is very simple. It is a few words, yet it holds great depth and substance. So we know that Pisces is the natural 12th house of the zodiac. So it represents everything that's contained within the 12th house. And the 12th house is a very interesting house, a very difficult one to explain or to pin down because it knows no limits. It is all about everything that exists beyond our understanding. It's the farthest away from the first house in the zodiac. So the 12th house is signifying foreign lands, foreign settlement, foreign cultures. It is also representing the spirit world, psychic abilities, meditation, deep contemplation, research, all of the mysteries, paranormal activity, the things that exist beyond our subconscious mind, all of our deep fears and desires that exist within our subconscious. The 12th house is endless and deep like the ocean. So this is representing this Pisces sign. Now, there is also a danger to this 12th house because it is about breaking free from the constraints of this mundane reality, which also means that on the shadow side, it is about escapism, addiction, overindulgence, all about these unhealthy methods of escaping life, escaping reality. At the same time, it is a great house for spirituality because this ability to disconnect with the mundane and to go inward, to connect with your heart, to connect with God, to connect to your spirituality is excellent for your ability to evolve, to expand in your consciousness. This house contains great imagination as well. Again, this is the house of your spirituality, of your dreams. This is the house of the bedroom. So everything that is happening at a subconscious level, that is coming from deep within, this great inspiration, intuition, abstract reality that is seen through this 12th house. The 12th house is also a house of compassion, of forgiveness, of all of these qualities that we've talked about with the sign of Pisces. So it is a house that is about charity, that is about helping those in need, that is about extending a helping hand and kindness to others. Now, something that you should be aware of is that when we first enter into this Rahu Pisces transit, there will be a Gandanta zone because we are shifting from Aries to Pisces. So coming up to this last part of October into the beginning of November, there is a great transformation and shift that is occurring where we are moving from fire to water. And whenever that happens, it creates a karmic knot or a Gandanta zone, which is all about intense transformations, intense reversals, about karmic situations. And so during this time, you want to exercise some caution. You want to be aware that this is occurring at this time. Now, as we know, the end of Pisces is in the Revati nakshatra, and the beginning of Aries is in the Ashwini nakshatra. So Ashwini and Revati have a very interesting relationship and connection as they both fall within this Gandanta zone. So Ashwini is actually the most like Pisces within the Aries Rashi. It is still sort of in an in-between state. So Ashwini is very much an Aries sign, but it is also very dreamy, very spiritual, very in tune with this Pisces energy as well. And Revati also shares this connection with Ashwini as well, where it is in Pisces, but it has some of those innocent, childlike qualities of Aries. So there's an exchange that is happening in this transitional period. Now, the other thing to understand is that as we come into this Rahu and Pisces, Ketu and Virgo transit, that Jupiter will be in Aries. So as Rahu moves away from Jupiter, this is giving us a great deal of clarity that we may not have had before. Because remember that Rahu is illusion. At the same time, Saturn has been supporting this whole thing by giving its third aspect over to Jupiter and Rahu in Aries. Saturn is stationed in Aquarius in its Mulatrikon sign, its most powerful position. And it is sitting behind this Rahu when Rahu shifts back into Pisces. So Rahu will be surrounded by Jupiter and Saturn coming into this transit. This is a good thing. Jupiter definitely helps to give positive results to this Rahu influence. It helps to contain it. And Saturn is also here to support the back of Rahu as well. And definitely there will be a lot of karmic situations coming into this transit because both Rahu and Saturn have to do with our karmic lessons in life. So this is definitely a time where many of you will be tested, where you will definitely be given situations and opportunities to see how you will approach these situations. So you want to be very careful about deception, about doing things that are underhanded with this. Remember that Pisces is a very secretive sign. So how are you using this Rahu Pisces transit? This is very important to understand. Now, again, we understand that the 12th house or Pisces is about this liberation, this deep spiritual awareness, self-awareness, going inward, finding your true self. And Virgo, which sits opposite to it, is the natural 6th house of our karmic debt, of our responsibilities, of the everyday mundane realities of life. So there is this interplay with being able to deal with our karmas, being able to take action and responsibility in life, but also disconnecting from this world and finding out who are you really and truly evolving in your spirituality and your love and your compassion and your understanding. We also should understand that next year we will see some major eclipses that are going to interplay with these nodes. So on April 8th of 2024, we will see a total solar eclipse. that will take place with Rahu. So this will take place definitely in the Revati nakshatra and will be a big moment of really letting go, of really making some major changes in our life. Now, of course, a total solar eclipse happens during a new moon, which is a time of darkness. So this is definitely something that will be a bit of a confusion at first. There will be difficulty in understanding what this new opportunity, what this new doorway is all about. And it's about having faith. It's about making right choices, about listening into your intuition. Now, you want to be very careful with this because Pisces, although can be very wise and intuitive, can be confused and emotional at times, making decisions based off of impulse instead of fully thinking it through. So definitely you want to be careful about making any sudden moves or decisions as you come into this. And both the Lord of this Pisces new moon and the Lord of the nakshatra of Revati will be in Aries. So yes, you want to be careful about impatience, about impulsivity, about making sudden moves and decisions. Take your time and really think about what this new beginning is asking you for. And it's especially true when we talk about relationships because Venus will be with this solar eclipse as well. So be very careful about sudden decisions and moves in your relationships. Carefully think everything through. If you are single at this time, then think about everything that you're doing. Think very carefully about the relationship. Get to know this new person before jumping into this experience. If you're already in a relationship, be very careful about arguments, about sudden moves and decisions, suddenly splitting in relationships. Take your time to have a conversation, to settle disagreements and conflicts. And this will be especially true because Mercury will be retrograde at this time, that this requires you to really review and reflect over this situation. Now, you'll notice that Neptune is also going to be in Pisces. And I normally don't talk much about these outer planets of Neptune, Uranus, and of Pluto, but these planets do have an impact, particularly when they are in close conjunction with major points or planets in the chart. And since this Rahu will be in Pisces where Neptune is, this definitely has a significant role to play in this. See, Neptune is going to increase the amount of illusion, confusion, and ability to tap into your intuition and to understand things at a deeper level. So with this is enhancing or expanding what this Rahu in Pisces is doing. And so this definitely means that you want to listen into your heart, into your intuition, to not allow your mind to confuse you, to get you into indecision, to not overthink things, to not do things based on emotion and impulse, but to really tap into that deep wisdom within yourself. Take the time to contemplate on every move and decision you are making. Now, on September 18th of 2024, we will also see a partial lunar eclipse. So again, these nodes are getting impacted very strongly in this eclipse. Now, during this eclipse, we will see a full moon, which always happens during a partial lunar eclipse, or during a lunar eclipse where we have the full moon involved here. So at this time, this moon will be with Rahu. And interestingly enough, what we can see here is that Rahu has moved back by the time we reach September of next year. It has shifted back into the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. And Uttara Bhadrapada is known for having a great deal of wisdom and insight, of being the wise old soul of the zodiac, understanding things at a level that is different or unique to others. It's also considered to be a very lazy nakshatra at times, escaping or daydreaming, fantasizing retreating into its own world. There's definitely something mystical and otherworldly about this nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. And we will also see that this moon is actually in the Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra. So both of these Bhadrapadas are getting activated. And both of them have this mystical, magical, otherworldly effect. And so this is certainly about trusting in your intuition, about your spiritual advancement, about meditation, reflection, going inward. And we can see that Jupiter will be over in the sign of Taurus here by the time we reach this lunar eclipse. So this definitely puts a focus on your values, puts a focus on what's important to you, what sustains you, what nourishes you. And keep in mind that this will also be where Uranus will be retrograde at, that there's a lot to reflect on, a lot to think about in terms of where you want things to go, how you want to expand the security, the comfort, the values, the things that are important to you in your life. This could definitely be a time of working on new projects, on working towards new goals, finding new ways to build the solid ground that you want in your life. Now, the nakshatra ruler of this moon is also Jupiter. So this will sit over here in this, putting a huge emphasis on your security, on your needs, on what you value. And specifically, Jupiter will be placed in the Mishra Nakshatra, which is all about searching for meaning and fulfillment in life, finding joy, finding happiness, finding the things that are aligned with your purpose and direction. Now we'll see the sun that is sitting opposite to this moon, of course, that is here in Uttara Phalguni, which falls right at the beginning of Virgo, which is all about friendships, contracts, negotiation, agreements, relationships. It is all about companionship, about holding up your word, sticking to what you have said, being there to support those who are important to you. And so it is all about these deals, contracts, bindings, things that you have agreed to put yourself into. And so that definitely means that you want to think about, what is it that you are willing to commit to? What is it that is important to you that you know that you will show up for? Anything that is not something that you want to commit to, you want to be very careful about inserting yourself into that situation. Think very carefully before getting into any relationships, any major life decisions. Before you commit, are you willing to uphold your word? Are you willing to see it all the way through? And of course, the dispositor of the sun will be Mercury, that is here in Leo. So very interesting position here. This is all about this deep connection, this deep attachment. Again, what is meaningful to you? What makes sense to you? What are you willing to insert yourself into at this time? Now, let's talk a little bit about how these nodes will behave in each of the nakshatras as they progress through this transit. So when we start the transit, Ketu will be placed in the Chitra nakshatra. So it will start off this way because Chitra begins in the sign of Libra. And so actually this will already be in Chitra as we come into this nodal axis. It will just move back into the sign of Virgo. Now, Chitra is very much associated with architecture, design, with creativity, with ingenious ideas. It is connected with Maya in that it has this ability to create something that is brilliant, that is spectacular. So it's definitely about your skills, your talents, your creativity, your ingenuity, your ability to create something that is beautiful, that is connected to your heart, your soul, your dreams. This is all about being the architect of your own life. And so with Ketu here, it definitely is about reflecting inward and understanding the beauty that is within you, understanding the true potential that you have. Are you neglecting this? Are you not seeing what you are truly capable of? Definitely for those of you who are not valuing yourself, who are not seeing your true potential, this is giving you a huge calling to reflect inward and to see who you really are. Again, this whole transit of Pisces, Rahu, will be all about who are you really, getting away from those illusions and distractions and finding out your true purpose, your true calling, your true self is becoming so important as you move throughout this entire transit. Now, also, we will see on the other side of this that Rahu will leave Ashwini again, crossing this Gandanta zone into the Revati nakshatra. Revati is a very interesting nakshatra. It is the last and final one. And so naturally, Revati is ruled over by Pushan, which is the guide, which is the shepherd that leads us back home. Some people see it as the ferryman who leads souls back to the other side. So it is all about guiding, all about leading, all about trusting in that path that is laid out in front of you. Trusting your intuition, trusting your instincts, taking that path, listening to that inner voice is becoming so important as we move into this transit. Revati also has a connection with art and creativity as well. So again, it's all about expressing your true potential, expressing your creativity, expressing those things that are important to you. Some of you working on your craft, working on your talent, polishing the things that are important to you at this time. Along with this, Revati is definitely a very spiritual nakshatra, very interested in astrology, occult knowledge, meditation, wellness, self-improvement, all of these very interesting subjects that can help you in bettering yourself and gaining a deeper understanding. So for anyone who is into spirituality, who is into all of these mystical and otherworldly subjects, this is definitely a time where you're going to take these things to a deeper level. Now, as we move into the Hasta nakshatra, this will be Ketu moving back into Hasta. Hasta is also a very talented and creative nakshatra as well. The word hasta means the hand, so it has to do with any skills that make use of the hands. Anything that has to do with writing, with sewing, with crocheting, with anything that has to do with painting, sculpting, anything at all that is using the hands, that is using your skills, your ability to take those things and to turn it into something that is practical, that is tangible. Hasta is very talented at weaving intelligence and creativity together to create a masterpiece, to create a work of art. Hasta is also a very clever nakshatra, very social, very witty, very humorous, very much skilled with wordplay, with writing, with communication in general, very charming, very clever. So this is all about your ability to tap into those talents, those gifts, those abilities that you have, and to use it to make something out of it, to use it in a practical, hands-on approach, especially with Ketu being here. It's about the talents that you already have and tapping into that, using it, trusting in it. Hasta also is a moon nakshatra, which indicates a lot of change and fluctuation. So this could also be a great time of transformation, of transforming from within, of actually finding things that illuminate and give you a greater sense of awareness, of consciousness. This Hasta nakshatra, don't forget, is ruled over by Savitar, which is one of the sun deities, which is all about light, illumination. So this is giving you an inner sense of illumination, of seeing things at a deeper level, understanding, becoming consciously aware of what really makes sense. So don't be afraid to go inward, to listen to your inner voice, to reflect, to meditate on things in your life. You can find enormous clarity in these areas. Now, if we continue on here, we will see Rahu that will shift back out of Revati into the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. I talked a little bit about this nakshatra earlier, that it is a very mystical nakshatra, a very wise, intuitive, insightful nakshatra, a lot of depth. that is in this nakshatra for sure. The Uttara Bhadrapada nakshatra is ruled over by the deity of a Hirbutnya, of the serpent of the deep seas. So it is all about going deeper, all about finding deeper truth, deeper awareness, researching, investigating, getting to the heart of what it all means, decoding symbols, hidden meanings, messages, getting to the root of what everything really means. So there's a lot of depth, a lot of wisdom that is found in this nakshatra. Very interesting one. Uttara Bhadrapada often looks like logic or looks like it is coming from a rational perspective, but actually it has a lot of intuition and abstract thinking, a lot of theories, a lot of deep insights, a lot of deep intuition that is found within this asterism. Very profound. This is the asterism of the old soul. So again, don't be afraid to listen inward, to follow your truth, to follow your heart, to really get to the depths of what everything means to you. Taking that time to reflect, to go inward is what this is all about. Now, of course, you want to be careful with this one also because, again, Rahu is illusion. And Uttara Bhadrapada, with its ability to get to the depths, to go beneath the surface, to go into deep introspection, also has a tendency towards escapism, towards addiction, towards daydreaming, fantasizing, getting lost in that inner world. And so you want to be careful about disconnecting too far into yourself at this time. You want to be careful about anything that you become dependent on or anything that is putting some kind of illusion in front of you. Again, with this Pisces energy, you want to be careful about getting too much into the headspace, about over analyzing, over rationalizing things. This is about finding that deeper truth within yourself, following your heart, following your intuition, following that deep inner wisdom, not allowing these other factors to confuse you and to get you into some sort of illusion. So this is a very important thing to understand coming into this. And of course, this is excellent, again, for anyone who is into the arts, anyone who is into creative expression, into spirituality, into mystical subjects, into deep research, all of these Piscean things. If you are someone who is really into this, then you will see growth, you will see improvement, you will see deeper understanding in these subjects. So after the Hasta Nakshatra, Ketu will shift back into Uttara Phalguni. Again, we talked about this a little bit earlier here. Uttara Phalguni is all about friendship. It's all about keeping your word, doing the things that you said, upholding your commitments and obligations. It's about partnership. It's about business. It's about contracts and dealings. And so this is definitely a relationship-oriented nakshatra, but it's also about hard work, responsibility, about, again, upholding the things that you said that you would do. So here it's very important coming into this nakshatra to understand what is it that you're truly connected to. And because this is Ketu, this is something that is deeper than just the surface. What are you investing your energy, your time into? What are you putting your heart into at this time? So not just those physical attachments that you have, but at an even deeper level, what are you really investing yourself into? So this takes a lot of reflection. This takes a lot of going inward at this time. Uttara Phalguni is a sun nakshatra, and the sun itself is an indication of individuality, of actual consciousness. So it is about going inward and understanding who you really are, what you really are invested in, and is it really aligned with you? So important to see at this time. And this can certainly challenge relationships for some people as well, whether that be business partnerships or romantic relationships. Understanding that, are you invested in something that is truly aligned with you, or are you just in it for this purpose of having the connection? One of the shadow sides of Uttara Phalguni is codependency. Are you getting too attached into a relationship that is not beneficial to you? Are you holding on to a toxic situation? Are you holding on to something that is not valuing your self-worth? This is so important to see when Ketu moves into this nakshatra. And of course, because Uttara Phalguni is about the fruits that return back to us, that this is definitely a time where all of the hard work, all of the things that you have focused on, put your energy and time into, you can see some results that are coming from that at this time as well. Now, finally, as we come to the end of this transit of Rahu in Pisces, it will move into Purva Bhadrapada, which is where it will stay as it shifts back into Aquarius, because Purva Bhadrapada begins in Aquarius and shifts ahead into Pisces. So Rahu will do the opposite. It will come to the end of Pisces here in Purva Bhadrapada and shift backwards into Aquarius when we move ahead into our brand new cycle after this cycle. So Purva Bhadrapada is a very interesting nakshatra. A lot of extremes, a lot of duality that is in this one. Purva Bhadrapada definitely is a very caring, a very compassionate nakshatra, but it has a lot of intensity to it, a lot of controversy, a lot of eccentricity to it. Definitely, Purva Bhadrapada is about being unique, being independent, standing out from the crowd, doing it your way. It's a very self-reliant asterism for sure. Purva Bhadrapada definitely is very rebellious in some ways, very dark and interesting, unique, very much about breaking taboos, about seeking out truth that in some ways is seen as controversial to the general public. It's a very interesting nakshatra in general. And there is a duality to it in the sense that it is able to adapt to any situation. So in some situations, Purva Bhadrapada can behave one way, and in the next situation can behave in a completely different way. There is a chameleon-like effect to this. Now in Pisces, of course, it is very much focused on spirituality. So the whole aim of this Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra is about gaining spiritual knowledge. It is about getting the deeper answers, the deeper truth. But in Aquarius, it is about breaking away from the things that hold us back from finding that spiritual truth. In Aquarius, we see burning, we see cutting, we see removal, separation from the things that we become obsessed and attached to through this Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra. But in Pisces, it is the final release, the letting go and surrendering to that which is spiritual, to that which is beyond the mundane physical reality. So in general, this is a very mystical nakshatra. It is a transitional point from one extreme to the next. It is the disconnect from the things that we thought would fulfill us, that we thought would make us happy, and a connection to that which is beyond, to that happiness, that love, that spirituality that comes from within. And so definitely as Rahu comes into this nakshatra, it is a test. It is a test to see what have you done throughout this entire transit. Were you truly about this spirituality, going inward, finding who you really are, finding your true path in life, or were you distracted by other things? Did you lose yourself in fantasies and illusions? So this is a big turning point where a lot of questions are coming up, a lot of reflection back on this cycle of this Rahu in Pisces, Ketu in Virgo, a lot of reflection on the things that have happened throughout this transit, and finally waking up to see if those things truly were aligned with you or not. So a lot of truth is going to come to the surface as we come into this Rahu Purva Bhadrapada. Now let's talk about how this will affect each of you according to your zodiac sign, which I always say in my videos that you can read this however it resonates best for you. So you could read this from your moon sign, from your ascendant sign in your D1, Or you could read it from your D9 ascendant as well, or even from your Navamsa sign. So, for example, if you're running a Ketu dasha right now and you have Ketu and Leo, you could put Leo right in your first house and read these transits according to that. You could also read it from your sun sign. So many different ways that you could read this horoscope. As long as it resonates for you, as long as it makes sense and can be helpful to you, that is what is most important. But I will say that it is always important to read it from your moon sign and your ascendant as well, because the moon has so much to do with your mind, with your behavioral patterns, your cycles in life. It is so important to see this transit from that moon's position, not to mention that Rahu and Ketu are deeply connected with the moon itself. They are the lunar nodes. So they have so much to do with your mind and how you are being influenced in this way. The ascendant, of course, represents the basic or general characteristics of yourself and your life in general. So that is also an important factor to read the chart from as well. But again, it all comes down to what makes the most sense to you. So starting off here for Aries, we will see Rahu shifting back into the 12th house. Very interesting transit here. We've had Rahu sitting in the first house for Aries for some time now, which has been all about ushering in this brand new beginning, this change of direction, this movement towards something that is better for you, improving yourself. Many of you with Aries placements have been so focused on your self-improvement, on getting better, on improving various areas of your life, whether that be relationships, careers, your home life, all the things that are important to you. You've been very focused on how can you take this to the next level? How can you make it better? How can you grow and expand in these areas, especially with Jupiter in there in that first house as well. So don't think that this new beginning is over, because Jupiter in the first house is going to continue to expand your life, continuing to bring opportunities in your life, continuing to get you to grow in who you are. This is going to continue to happen throughout this transit. But as Rahu moves back into the 12th house, it is all about solidifying the things that you are starting to move towards. It's all about coming to the realization that, okay, now I am in a new cycle of my life. Now things are starting to move in this brand new direction. Now this is time to accept these things that are being cemented into place. Because the thing about Rahu is that it moves backwards. So to Rahu, the 12th house is actually the second house from the first house. So it is about taking those things that you have moved towards, that you have built throughout this Rahu and Aries transit, and starting to solidify those things, starting to find solid ground with it, starting to make it something that is secure and stable for yourself. That is what this Rahu transit will be all about for you. Now, Ketu will be on the opposite end of this in the 6th house. This is great because now Ketu is moving out of that 7th house, which is all about your relationships. And now it's moving back into this 6th house. Now, this also means, though, that a lot of things will begin to transform and change as you're becoming empowered and stronger and more secure in this brand new direction. What's interesting, though, is that for those of you who didn't use this Rahu transit to your advantage, you may feel some loss. You may feel that, okay, the situations that I've made have not really supported me. And now I'm starting to see that these things are not falling into place the way that I wanted them to. So what this is doing is this is transforming your life through the actions that you have taken in this previous transit of Rahu and Aries. You will see a transformation. And whether this transformation is something that is positive or negative is coming from the experiences and choices that you have made in the previous transit. Ultimately, though, this is great for you because Saturn will also be sitting in that 11th house, which is continuing to help you to open up to new possibilities, new friendships, new connections, new opportunities to build wealth for yourself at this time. Saturn will also be aspecting onto Jupiter, which is going to help you to make some really great choices, because Jupiter can be a little over expansive sometimes in that first house, but Saturn is helping to give you more of a seriousness in terms of how you make those decisions, how you expand yourself. It is helping to give you some security and stable ground. So in general, this transit will be great for you, especially if you have been using this Rahu in Pisces. This Rahu in Aries to your advantage. Then this Rahu in Pisces will be super beneficial, because this is starting to solidify that new beginning into your actual new normal experience. Now for Taurus, Rahu will be shifting into your 11th house. This is a little bit of a relief for you, because Rahu in the 12th house has been a little bit of a secretive time for you, where you've been more behind the scenes, more so contemplating, thinking about different things. But as Rahu moves into the 11th house, it's giving you this opportunity now to expand, to see your dreams come into reality. So the things that have felt like they've been on hold, or you haven't been able to move towards these things, now Rahu is opening up the doorway for you. Now Rahu is saying, okay, you have an opportunity to build those connections, to build those things that you want to expand into your life. Now, we also have Jupiter, which is really interesting that it's sitting back in your 12th house still. So Jupiter in that 12th house is excellent for your spirituality, for your education, for your ability to research, to explore. So that part of you that is seeking something deeper, more meaningful, is still there. But Rahu is helping you to manifest a lot that you have been seeking for some time into reality. We have Saturn, of course, that is also there in your 10th house. So it's helping to make sure that all of your actions are truly aligned with your purpose. Saturn in the 10th house definitely puts a huge weight on you, but it helps you to be very responsible. It helps you to be very secure, which is something that Taurus enjoys, is having that sense of security, having that feeling of that solid ground beneath your feet, being able to have the things that make you feel secure is so important. And Saturn is helping you to do this through this transit. Ketu is also going to sit back in that 5th house. And so it's all about using the skills and talents that you've developed in order to fulfill these dreams and ambitions. So a lot of you, again, have been very focused on education, on spirituality, on deep reflection, on this time alone to contemplate, to dissect, to understand things. And so taking that knowledge that you have gained and using it to your advantage to open up these doorways, opportunities, to gravitate people and opportunities towards you is what this transit becomes all about. Ketu in the 5th house is definitely excellent for anyone who is religious or spiritual. Getting into your studies, your scriptures, all of this is excellent at this time. This gives you great knowledge. Even those who are into astrology, for example, can find that this is a great time to go deeper into understanding those studies. For those of you with a Gemini placement in your chart, Rahu will go ahead and shift into your 10th house of career. This is a very interesting position. So as you come into this transit, first of all, you've been seeking to expand things in your life, to bring in opportunities. And you may have found some confusion when Rahu was with Jupiter, where you weren't seeing those opportunities or situations as clearly. But as Rahu moves off of that Jupiter, then the clarity comes. Then you get to see that vision, that picture of how you're going to bring things into your life. And Rahu in the 10th house gives you the ability to work towards it, because that 10th house is all about taking action. It's all about your actions in the world. So this gives you the ambition, the drive, the ability to move towards seeing those goals become a reality for you. So this is excellent. Saturn in that 9th house also gives you great discipline, great ability to get the job done, to be ethical in your actions and activity. All of this is helping you to strive towards success, to strive towards achievement, particularly if this is something that you've already been working towards before this transit began. So definitely this is a career-oriented time, a success-oriented time. Your focus on what you want to manifest, what you want to bring into your life. Now, Ketu will be sitting on the opposite end of this in the fourth house. So this may disturb some things at a domestic level. You may feel a little bit restless, like you want to change residence. You want to make some kind of changes in your home and family situation. And there can be some issues that come up in your family at this time because, again, you're very focused on your goals, very focused on your achievements, the direction that you're moving in. And so some people may feel neglected or left behind in this drive towards your goals and ambitions in life. And so this can give a feeling of separation or detachment or something that is creating an obstacle for you in your domestic life. However, this is not the time to make decisions about changing those areas. You want to wait until Ketu moves into your third house when it eventually shifts into Aquarius. So definitely you want to be careful because Ketu in the fourth house can create a lot of disturbance for you. So being very careful about making sudden moves and decisions, impulses is very important. One thing that Ketu can do for you in this fourth house, though, is to take you through deep introspection and spirituality. If you are willing to look inward, this can help you to change things at a deeper level, to work out traumas, issues, to make those deep healing transformations in your life. It also can give you opportunities to travel abroad for some of you as well. So this is definitely a time where there's a lot of doorways opening. There's a lot that you're moving towards, progressing towards. Things can feel more fast-paced coming into this transit. Now, for those of you with a Cancer placement, we will see Rahu shifting back into your ninth house. Amazing for foreign journeys. For those of you who are seeking to go abroad or seeking to go to distant lands at this time, this is an excellent time for travel. Rahu in this ninth house can also open you up to new knowledge, new information, new studies. For those of you who are seeking university, those of you who are seeking all sorts of levels of learning, of taking up a new course, this is amazing for this. Rahu is opening up so many doorways in this ninth house. The thing, though, is that this is going to have some kind of effect on your belief system. Some of you may be learning new belief systems from foreign cultures, from different places, different people at this time. And there's definitely some kind of confusion that is happening with your belief. You want to change it or you want to learn something new. And so you can find that you're able to understand things from a wide variety of belief systems. This could be very helpful for your spirituality, but be very careful that everything that you are connecting to is something that is aligned with yourself. There definitely will be a lot of activity in your life with Ketu back in that third house. All of this shifting, changing communication, all the things happening in your life are constantly shifting and moving. So more activity is picking up as you move into this transit. Jupiter will be alone in your 10th house, amazing for attracting career opportunities, promotions, for finding new ways to build and recreate your business or your career in some way. This is excellent for bringing in brand new opportunities to expand. Saturn will be back in that 8th house as well, protecting you from a lot of difficult circumstances. This helps you to gain some resiliency, some strength. Any obstacles, challenges that you go through at this time will help you to grow, to become wiser. And so this is a huge moment of learning, of expansion, of growth, of changes that are coming into your life. For those of you with a Leo placement, Rahu will be shifting back into your 8th house. Very intense. This is trying to get you to explore, to go into the unknown, to go beyond what makes you feel comfortable. Sometimes a little tricky for Leos as they are fixed in nature. But this is definitely asking you to explore more, to go deeper, to dive into your studies. If you're someone into astrology, into metaphysics, into psychology, into philosophy, anything at all, this is amazing for your study and research abilities. This will help you to dive into things that you didn't understand or know before. So this definitely is amazing for your study abilities. Jupiter in the 9th house there is also great for your education as well. So this is definitely a time of learning for those of you with Leo placements. This could also take you into foreign lands because, again, Rahu in this 8th house is about exploration. Jupiter 9th house, amazing for travel. So you could be opening yourself up to some brand new opportunities and situations in your life at this time, helping you to learn and explore things that you didn't know about before. Now, Ketu in your 2nd house can disrupt your wealth a little bit coming into this transit as well. You want to be careful that you're managing everything correctly. You could be a little careless in this area, or you could just find that with these new opportunities coming in your life that you're spending more than usual. But Ketu definitely is asking you to pay very close attention to how you manage not only your wealth, but all of the things that you value, all of the things that you hold worth in. Very important that you see to making sure that all of these things are secure and are truly aligned with your self-worth. Very important. Now, Saturn will also remain in the 7th house. This has been tricky for some of you. Definitely, it is about commitment. It's about responsibility. It's about hard work, being of service to others. This is something big that Saturn's bringing into your life in that 7th house. So this may bring some people into your life who need your support, who need your help at this time, particularly with Rahu in that 8th house. It can bring in a spouse who needs a lot of support from you at this time, or some situation that is surrounded around your shared resources, around your marriage that needs to be considered. For the most part, it's a positive one because Saturn is about longevity. It's trying to get you to commit to be responsible in this area. But for some of you, it could potentially create a loss situation. But it's about resolving and taking care of all of these issues. And not just in marriage, but also in business partnership for some of you. You can see some issues coming up that need to be resolved, some responsibilities that need to be tended to coming into this transit. Make sure you pay very close attention to finances or anything that is shared within a business partnership. For those of you with a Virgo placement, this is a big transit because Ketu will be coming into your 1st house. So this is directly influencing you, your personality, your life direction, everything. Ketu in this 1st house is huge. This is all about understanding who you really are. This is definitely going to take you into some deep contemplation, deep reflection about yourself and your life. And this could make you come across as a little more mystical, more reserved, more spiritual at this time. There's something that is different that other people are noticing about you, and they feel attracted to you because of it. So it will bring in a lot of people into your life as well. This is a deep placement of Ketu in the 1st house because it really is about understanding yourself, understanding your spirituality, understanding everything that is true to you. But Rahu in the 7th house can distract you a little bit with so many people, so much business situation that's coming into your life, so many other factors that have to be taken care of. So it's a bit of a balancing act trying to figure out how to make this relationship with yourself and relationship with others work at this time. It's definitely a time where you want to incorporate certain practices like meditation, deep breathing, anything at all that can make you feel more relaxed. Because Virgos have a tendency to have anxiety and digestive problems. And with Rahu coming in here, this is definitely going to be a busy time in this seventh house, in this marketplace, in business partnerships, in relationships. There's going to be a lot going on, and you want to be able to manage your stress levels. This is so important, especially with Saturn being in your sixth house here. It's asking you to take responsibility for your health, for your routine, for your diet, for everything. Managing all of these things in a healthy way will help to stabilize and balance everything in your life. Whereas though if you take this for granted, this may cause you some difficulties and high anxiety levels that can be very difficult to cope with. So definitely make sure to not give away everything to everyone else, but to take care of yourself. Also, be very careful about manipulation because Rahu in the seventh house can definitely create this. Remember that Rahu is illusion. And so any kind of deals, contracts, anything at all that you are attempting to sign or to agree to at this time, be very careful to look over the small print. Jupiter will be in your eighth house, amazing for your studies, for your research abilities. This can be great for your education if you are in higher studies. This can be great for spirituality, astrology, anything at all, helping you to get to the depths of all of these subjects. This gives you profound wisdom and understanding at a deeper level. It's amazing for your growth at a spiritual level. And also, this Jupiter eighth house can potentially take you into foreign lands as well. Same thing with Rahu in that seventh house. Great for foreign connections. Some of you may be even attracting a partner or romantic interest at this time who has some connection to foreign lands. There can be online dating, long distance relationship, new people from new walks of life, different cultural backgrounds. There's something different about the connections that you're making at this time. This can definitely help you to expand your wealth, but you want to be careful about any risky ventures. But of course, Saturn is here to help as it gives this third aspect onto Jupiter, helping you to be more serious about how you deal with debts, loans, legal matters, all of the situations in your mundane reality. This is amazing for you. And of course, as a Virgo, you're normally on top of all of these things. But with Ketu in that first house, be very careful to look over everything very much down to the details, but not to excessively worry about these things either, because your anxiety level can be huge coming into this transit. Very important to incorporate those coping mechanisms, those exercises that are going to promote peace and happiness in your life. Now, for Libra, we will see Rahu shifting into your sixth house. What a relief, because Rahu has been sitting in your seventh house for some time now, and it's been very stressful, very overwhelming, very draining, with people constantly calling on you, people constantly seeking you out. You have been taking on a lot, and definitely you have been wanting to disconnect, but it's in your nature as a Libra to want to deal with the affairs of other people. So this has been especially a draining time for you. But as Rahu comes into your sixth house, that all comes to an end. Rahu in the sixth house allows you to organize your life in the way that works for you. This is amazing for decluttering, anything at all. Removing old clothing from your house, redecorating, making sure that things are clean and organized. This is definitely a big time. Even sorting out debts, loans, illnesses, all of these mundane areas of life. Rahu is going to help you to master this in a way that is efficient and helpful to you. Now, Rahu can also bring about some issues in this area as well, but it gives you the ability to manage everything. So this is excellent for getting your life back into your own hands, getting everything to work smoothly the way that you need it to. Also, as Rahu has moved away from Jupiter, this gives you more clarity in your relationship situation, in the people that you're dealing with. This gives you better awareness of these situations. Jupiter in the seventh house could also attract a new business deal to you, a new relationship, a new opportunity, a new ability to exploit the marketplace at this time. This is amazing for business with Jupiter sitting here in this seventh house, especially as Jupiter is that third and sixth lord in your chart. It gives you ingenious ideas and ability to work towards those goals that you have for yourself. Now, Saturn sitting behind Rahu in the fifth house. Amazing for you because not only is this the Mula Trikona sign of Saturn, but this is your yoga karaka. It can only give you amazing results in this area. So this is incredible for your discipline, for your ability to achieve, to move towards your goals. This is incredible with Saturn here in this fifth house. And you may not have been able to see this before with Rahu that was sitting with Jupiter there in the seventh house. But there's so many things that are coming into place as they're supposed to be as you come into this transit. Now, Ketu in the 12th house is about reflecting, reevaluating things. You're going to take time to look back at where you were in that last transit of Rahu in your seventh house. And it's definitely about letting go of any attachments, anything at all that stressed you out, that didn't work out for you, that wasn't suited for you in the past. So this is a brand new cycle for you. You are starting over. You are rearranging your life completely as you come into this transit. Now for Scorpio, we will see Rahu shifting ahead into your fifth house. This is a very interesting position. So definitely you want to be careful about risk taking at this time because Rahu is going to get you really excited in this fifth house. You're going to want to take on some new opportunities, new situations, but you want to make sure that it is all aligned with you and that you are not jumping in too impulsively into these situations for sure. Rahu in the fifth house can be good for your studies, your education, your spirituality, all of this, but this is definitely going to make you want more fun, more adventure, more excitement, more risk-taking in your life, and you want to be very careful before jumping into any decision at all. This is also going to be a time with Ketu in the 11th house where you could attract a great deal of wealth through your creativity, through your uniqueness, your individuality, through your ingenious ideas that you're getting at this time. This could be great for wealth accumulation. But the thing is, with Ketu in the 11th house, you can also become slightly detached from this. And so this may be a time where you are more focused on having fun and enjoying yourself rather than being focused towards your goals. For some of you, this could be a time of leaving a group situation, which could be positive for you if this was something that did not serve you. But be very careful because this is definitely a time where you are stepping into a brand new direction with Rahu moving into this fifth house. So you can attract new friends, new opportunities, new situations that are suited for you. But it's asking to make sure you're aligned with all of these things, that all of these things are something that is really meant for you, because as soon as it is not aligned with you, you will have a tendency to detach from those things in your life for sure. But this is excellent for coming up with new creative ideas, for being pioneering, for being adventurous at this time, exploring more. This can definitely open up some new doorways for you. Now, Saturn is sitting back in your fourth house. So some of you may have been feeling a little bit melancholic or a little isolated, a little more reserved than usual coming into this year here. But this Saturn fourth house definitely is about making sure that you are valuing everything, making sure that everything is truly meant for you. Saturn is aspecting directly on your first house, making you serious, making you very much focused on your reality, your circumstance, your situation. So it's about making sure that it's all aligned with you, making sure that you're taking the right moves and decisions. So Saturn is forcing you to isolate or reflect or to think things over a little bit before just jumping in. And this is a good thing. This may be a little frustrating for some of you if you are thinking about moving or making some major changes and decisions. Saturn can restrict this a little bit, especially in terms of property, vehicles, all of these sort of situations. But this is helping you to sort out your life. It's helping you to plan effectively as it aspects onto that sixth house where Jupiter is as well. Now, Jupiter sixth house, great for your ability to manage all of your responsibilities, to be of service to others. You're showing a lot of compassion to people in your workplace or to people who you are involved with on a daily basis. And this can all attract something positive into your life because you are putting out this positivity into the world. So overall, this transit is good for you, but it is urging you to be cautious. It's urging you to think over your decisions before jumping in. For Sagittarius, Rahu will be shifting into your fourth house. So this is definitely getting you focused on going inward, looking within yourself. This is sort of taking you away from the public or away from the things that are happening outside of yourself. And this can be a very interesting transit for your career, particularly for those of you who are working under authority, under a boss in a normal 9-to-5 job situation. There can be some fluctuation or dissatisfaction, disconnection from your job at this time. And this can be a very interesting dynamic where some of you are thinking about doing something that's different, that's unique, that is not the normal mundane career approach. So there's something big that's changing in this area for you. But you want to be careful about making major moves and decisions at this time, as this is all about being able to understand yourself, being able to understand what truly makes you happy, and actually taking the time to do this before just jumping in and making decisions. Because again, Rahu is in Pisces. You have to listen to your heart. You have to see what is really true before just coming to conclusions at this time. But definitely it can change your job situation for some of you. Some of you feel burnt out. Some of you feel that you're doing something that's not really aligned with who you really are. Now, if you are in self-employment at this time, then this could just be a time where you're getting more creative, more inventive about how you want to approach your business. Jupiter will be in the fifth house, expanding your creativity. Excellent. Jupiter's your chart ruler. So this is a great placement coming into this fifth house as its first house lord, opening up new doorways, new creativity, new possibilities, new ways to bring in income, new ways to get noticed. This is incredible. This can expand your friend circle, your network circle, your potential at this time. This is excellent. Now, we also have Saturn that's sitting behind this in your third house, also making you more so geared towards taking action on your goals and ambitions. You are determined, you are fired up at this time to move forward in this area. So this is excellent for really figuring out new ways to bring in opportunities and success in your life. It may feel a little bit confusing as you first come into this transit, as there can be some feeling of frustration around your career for some of you. But for the most part, this is great. This gives you ingenuity, gives you creativity, ability to think outside of the box and to find what truly works for you. For Capricorn, Rahu will shift into your third house. Your confidence is boosting big time as you come into this transit. This is a big time for you to be courageous, to take risks, to go for what you want. This is urging you to really take it to the next level with your skills, your talents, your abilities, and to be not afraid to express these talents and abilities and to use this to your advantage. You're growing as you come into this transit of Rahu. Now, Jupiter will be sitting in front of Rahu in your fourth house. So this is making you very happy and content at this time. This is amazing, as Saturn has been sitting in that first house for so long. Coming into January, Saturn shifted back into the second house, but still Jupiter's movement into the fourth house has taken a huge weight off of many of you. So really, this transit of Jupiter is about being happy and content within yourself. Being gracious of the things that you have, the things that you're building, the things that are of value to you is so important. And this is amazing for your spirituality, for those of you who are into astrology, mysticism, all of these sort of spiritual practices. This expands this area for you. Even those in education, Jupiter fourth house can help you in this area as well. If you're looking to make changes as far as your property, as far as home improvement, all of these things, amazing. Saturn is giving an aspect helping to stabilize this for you. And Saturn is in good dignity. So this isn't going to hurt this area for you either. This is helping you to expand in all of the ways that you would like to expand. Now, what Saturn is doing as it is shifted into your second house is it's making you more responsible in terms of your finances, in terms of how you're managing everything, getting you to stabilize these areas. This is so important for you. And it starts not just with your money and your possessions and how you're investing, but also in your self-worth, valuing yourself, valuing what's important to you. This is so important at this time. Jupiter wants you to feel happy and content within yourself in that fourth house. And Rahu urging you to be confident, to be daring, to be independent, to develop more knowledge, more skills, more talents that can help you to excel. So this is a great time for all of this. Now, this may be a time that is not so much about traveling or focusing on external things, though, because again, it's about your individual growth. So you're going to be very focused on yourself and the things that are in front of you at this time as you're building, as you're creating, as you're finding that stride that works for you. For Aquarius, Rahu will be coming into your second house. So this has been a very interesting time because Saturn has moved officially into your first house, which is your Lord in its Mula Trikona sign. This is extremely powerful for your resilience, for your strength, your hard work, your effort. You are feeling empowered in this transit. But Saturn is still putting some weight on you because it does demand for you to be responsible, to be disciplined, to be hardworking, to be of service to those in need, which is a typical Aquarius theme. So this is a very interesting transit because this is offering you the ability to move up, to advance, to see yourself to success, but also demanding that hard work and persistence continues for you to reach this. And Rahu in the second house definitely is going to challenge you in terms of your finances, your resources, making sure that all of these things are how they are supposed to be. So you may find that in this transit, when Rahu comes into the second house, that you feel a little insecure about your finances. You feel a little insecure about how secure you are or if you have enough of what you need. You may be in this state of desiring more security, more in your life. And what Rahu is really asking you to do in this transit is to reorganize things in your life, to manage things in a different way that will serve you better. So although you may be trying to gain more with this Rahu second house, it's actually asking you to let go of things that don't serve you, to pay attention to what you truly value, to what is truly aligned with your self-worth, what truly makes you feel secure. And what is not meant for you has to go. And so this may mean that your finances get shooken up a little bit at this time, that you have to pay off debts, that you have to get rid of expenditures, that you have to change the way that you make payments. Something about this area is definitely changing for you. Also, this may increase your appetite as well. So be careful about what you eat because Rahu represents medicines, poisons, all sorts of strange things. So be very careful that you're not getting food poisoning, that you're not taking in things that are not good for you. But Rahu is your co-lord, so it's definitely going to help you to bring in more wealth, more abundance, more security in your life. But you definitely have to let go. You have to rearrange things that no longer serve you. Now, with Ketu in the eighth house, you may also develop more of an interest in occult knowledge and spirituality and astrology and all of these deeper subjects because Ketu here wants you to get to the truth. It wants you to find, again, what is going to make you truly secure within yourself, truly value yourself. So it's asking you to go beneath the surface on this other end with Ketu in the eighth house. And so for some of you, whether you are into astrology, occult subjects, all of these things, it is going to make you interested in some of these things as we come into this transit. And it's amazing for any of you who are into research as well. That's a big thing for Aquarius. So for some of you who want to seek out more knowledge, more understanding, this can definitely help you in this area. But Ketu is going to take you through an internal change, a feeling of insecurity, a feeling of transformation that is coming in your life. Jupiter in the third house has been expanding your confidence, your charisma, your ability to go for what you want. And it's going to continue to do this even more because now Rahu is off of Jupiter, which is giving more clarity in this area. This is amazing for meeting new people, for traveling different places, for exploring things that you did not explore before previous to this. So this is great. This opens up so many doorways for you, particularly through your connections with other people. This is amazing for networking, for group situations, for being a part of your community. You can find a lot of good fortune in this. For Pisces, last but not least, this is definitely going to be a prominent transit for you because Rahu is shifting into your first house. That house of self is going to directly impact you. This is a very interesting one. Rahu is not exactly in tune with Pisces, but Jupiter helps to contain Rahu as well. So when Rahu comes into the first house of your chart, this is definitely going to usher in a brand new beginning into your life. For many of you, you've been rearranging things, you've been letting go of the past, you've been going through all of these different transformations for some time. But when Rahu finally moves into the first house of your chart, this is a brand new beginning, a brand new direction for you that you've never experienced before. So there are going to be a lot of changes, a lot of focus on your growth, your self-improvement, on moving into a brand new direction. This will all come into your mind as you move into this Rahu transit. This may increase your desires at this time as well. And if you're someone who's focused on material perspective of life, this can definitely get you focused on how you can build your wealth, how you can build your resources, how you can improve business situations. Some of you getting into situations of business partnership, all of these sort of things. You want to be careful about addiction, about overindulgence, all of these things as well, because Rahu is the co-lord of your 12th house. So for some of you, it is a time where you are thinking about expanding and enjoying life more, but you want to be careful that you're not overdoing it. This can also be a time of foreign travels as well, as Rahu, again, is your 12th house lord. And definitely Rahu coming into this first house is going to give you some brand new experiences in your life. So this can be a huge time of traveling abroad, experiencing different cultures, really exploring different philosophies, different religions from various perspectives. So this is really going to open up your life to a brand new perspective. Now, something that you definitely want to be careful of coming into this transit, though, is that Rahu in the first house, definitely as it increases your desires, as it increases the tempo and pace of you really expanding and exploring different factors in your life, This dynamic of Saturn in the 12th house and Jupiter in the second house is going to become very strong here, which means there's a need to balance your finances. Saturn in the 12th house is definitely going to create some losses, some expenses. And Saturn in the 12th house can also take you into foreign lands as well. So this is a very strong indication. But you want to be careful about how you're spending your resources, where you're putting all of this time, money, energy, whatever those resources are in your situation. How you're spending that is huge at this time, and being able to manage that properly is what Saturn's looking for in that 12th house. Jupiter in the second house can give you new opportunities, new possibilities to increase your wealth, to increase your fame, to increase your ability to gain success in life. This is an excellent time for expanding all areas of your material life. At the same time, Saturn in the 12th house can instill some fears or anxieties in you, which means this is definitely a time where you want to increase meditation, deep breathing, whatever practices work best for you. Finding that thing that is going to give you some peace and calm within yourself is extremely important, because this is definitely going to increase the pace of your life. It's going to increase the experiences coming in. And Pisces sometimes can be a little bit sensitive and overwhelmed by everything that is happening. So, definitely, you want to be able to manage this. You want to be open to these experiences, but make sure that it's not taking a toll on your mental health. Saturn in that 12th house is definitely going to urge you to take care of your health, to take care of how you are dealing with your routine, your work life, everything. Managing everything in a way that isn't going to increase your stress levels, that isn't going to create imbalance in your life. So, definitely, there is a huge theme of balance that is coming in during this transit. And of course, Rahu in the first house could also make you into fitness, into your physical body, enhancing these areas. But also, you want to be careful again with your health with Rahu coming into this first house. More so than any other time, you want to make sure that you're taking care of your health, that you're taking care of what you're putting into your body, how all of these things are affecting you, because Rahu in the first house, again, is going to expand your life. And with this expansion, sometimes there is a little bit of illusion. You're seeing things on a much grander level than what it actually is. So, having moderation, having balance in your life, being able to rein things in a way that is going to support you, that is going to take care of your physical, mental, emotional health at this time is extremely important, but also not excessively worrying or trying to hold on or control things, but allowing yourself to step into this brand new experience. Because as I've said, this is going to bring in many possibilities and experiences that can really help you to improve your life and take things to the next level. If you have felt stagnant for some time now with Rahu back in your second house and Saturn in that 12th house, feeling a little bit stuck about what is this new beginning and how are you able to bring in the kind of money, security, success that you're looking for, then this is definitely going to be a huge eye opening experience for you as this transports you into this brand new experience. And of course, Saturn back in that 12th house is still making it feel a little bit confusing as far as where you are headed. But also, as you come into this transit, it's going to shift and change this dynamic. So, this is still going to be a time of contemplating things with Saturn back in that 12th house. But also, don't hold yourself back. Don't allow those fears of Saturn in the 12th house to stop you from taking on these brand new experiences. This is definitely a time with Saturn in that 12th house to clear out some subconscious baggage and clutter, to get rid of some of those fears, insecurities, whatever that looks like to you, being able to let go of the past, to release the things that no longer serve you. Now, if we talk about K2 back in your seventh house now, This is a very interesting dynamic because, again, it's going to put a huge focus on you and your life and how all of that will expand in your favor. So, if you are in a committed partnership, whether that be business, romantic, this is going to detach you a little bit from that area. So, this may mean that your partner feels a little bit neglected or left out with this position. So, you want to make sure that you're tending to those areas as well. Again, this whole transit for you will be about finding balance, finding what works for you in this huge dynamic between this first and second house. Definitely, you want to be careful in business partnerships because you can become a little detached from this area. So don't leave your partner neglected in this area if you are involved in a partnership. But K2 in the seventh house can definitely make it feel like other people are draining on your energy a little bit because, again, you're so focused on your goals, your ambitions, on how you can grow as an individual. So, just being able to find that balance that works for you, being able to commit into your relationships and partnerships, but also finding that space for yourself when you need it as well, being able to communicate these things, being able to find compromise and understanding in your connections will be so important throughout this transit of Rahu in the first house, Ketu in the seventh house. So this is looking like an amazing time for those of you with Pisces rising. Of course, you want to see what other planets are getting influenced in your natal chart by this transit. If you have planets in that first house, they're definitely going to get influenced. So you want to see what are those planets that are going on that are going to be with Rahu during the transit. And the closer that these planets are in degrees to where the planets will be transiting in your chart, the stronger that you will feel those effects. So I want to wish you all the best. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you stayed to the end and you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any new content. And if you feel that this is helpful to someone else, make sure to share it out as well. If you're looking for a consultation with me, make sure to check out my website where you can set up an appointment there. I am now offering written reports as well. So if you're interested in getting a written report for astrology or a Zoom session, both of those are available over at my website. If you want to know what your placements are, I have a birth chart calculator available that is color coded and that you can get in any chart type, in any Ayanamsha, any system at all that you want that chart to be in. That is available over at the website. So make sure to check that all out. And again, I wish you all a happy Rahu Pisces transit. I hope you all enjoy it and stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.